Live from WTVO 17 and your home team. Eyewitness News at 5 starts now.
The nation remembers the anniversary of the Gulf War. We caught up with a local veteran who shares some details of his time served. Security in D.C. hits a historic level as Inauguration Day approaches. We'll show you Illinois' capital and the nation's capital. A local church lends a helping hand to families in need, why they say donating now is more important than ever. Good evening, I'm Alexis Carpello. Thanks for joining us tonight. A victim was held at gunpoint by serial carjackers in broad daylight on Saturday. DeKalb County sheriffs went to the intersection of East County Line Road and Barber Green Road for a two-vehicle crash. It happened around 3 in the afternoon. Investigators say both of those vehicles were stolen. Police say those drivers then stole the car of a Good Samaritan who stopped to help out. Deputies drove after the fleeing suspects but had to stop due to safety risks. Investigators say that vehicle was then used in another carjacking in Aurora. It's been 30 years since American troops began the battle against Iraq in the Gulf War. Dylan Saraki spoke with a local veteran who reflects on the anniversary.
In December of 1990, I was notified that we were going to the desert. So I was deployed on Christmas Day, was sent down there to Saudi Arabia.
Even though it's been 30 years since the start of Operation Desert Storm, Poplar Grove resident Buck Wyndham says he remembers it like it was yesterday.
None of us knew what we were doing. None of us really knew what to expect. And it was an interesting, scary time.
Wyndham served in the U.S. Air Force throughout the entirety of the Gulf War, which included piloting the A-10 Warthog jet through 43 days of combat missions.
Out there in the desert, it was really easy to figure out what was enemy and what was not. If it was there in the desert, it was enemy. So unlike other wars, we just shot at whatever was down there because there wasn't anything else out there.
Although he describes the 6 months he spent in Saudi Arabia as intense, the veteran says he's grateful the fighting didn't last long.
Our war was over so quickly and so decisively and done so well that I think for a long time America really had a positive attitude. We really, in the early 90s, we all had our thumbs in the air because things were looking good for us, and that was sort of our legacy in that war, was to sort of bring back America, if you will.
Wyndham, who continues to work as an airline pilot and flight instructor, says his military experience taught him important life lessons.
In my life, I've seen really, really tough times, many times. And each one feels like the worst thing that has ever happened, and always feels like, oh God, this is the end of America. And it's not. We just have to figure out a way to get through it.
In Poplar Grove, for your home team, I'm Dylan Saraki.
Natasha Cleary, a mother killed in 2011, would have turned 40 today. Cleary and her 2 sons were murdered 10 years ago. In April 2011, Cleary and her sons were shot to death in their home on Canterbury Lane. The house was then set on fire. A day later, police say a masked man attempted to use Cleary's debit card at an ATM on Rockton Avenue. That's only a 9-minute walk away from the victim's home. A decade later, no one has been arrested, something that's haunted the victim's loved ones and frustrated investigators. If anyone knows anything about this case, police ask you to leave a tip with them or Crime Stoppers. Illinois' capital is ramping up security for possible protests leading up to Inauguration Day. The Illinois National Guard deployed 250 troops to Springfield in efforts to make their presence known. Major General Richard Neely says the public should feel safe around the city, even after seeing the National Guard in certain areas.
I think they should feel safe now. I think the security posture is there to ensure our citizens that they can feel safe. And, that's one of those things we're just here to ensure that something doesn't happen.
Major General Neely says there have been no specific threats made to the Illinois Capitol. Now, Illinois' capital isn't the only one on high alert. The FBI warning of substantial danger ahead of the inauguration of President-elect Joe Biden. We'll take a look at the measures authorities are taking coast to coast. Rena Roy is keeping you connected to the nation's capital.
Across the country, authorities taking no chances. At least 10 states activating their National Guards, Kentucky shutting down its capital, plexiglass going up in Boston. The FBI receiving information about pro-Trump groups calling for the storming of government buildings on Inauguration Day. Michigan legislators suspending session this week because of credible threats.
Law enforcement officials are working together to ensure that we don't see a repeat of those dangerous, illegal, and disgraceful actions.
The United States Postal Service temporarily removing mailboxes in at least 17 states plus the nation's capital. And up to 25,000 National Guard troops will be on the ground there by Wednesday.
Our mission here is to protect our people and our property, and so we're going to do everything to make sure that they're successful.
Police arresting a woman at a D.C. checkpoint who they say claimed to be law enforcement and part of the presidential cabinet. They also took a 22-year-old Virginia man spotted with a holstered Glock pistol into custody. The Biden team on high alert.
We are in a volatile time. We're preparing for any scenario that should arise after noon on January the 20th.
This as new details emerge from the Capitol Hill riots. Sources telling ABC News Dominic Pizzola of Rochester, New York, accused of smashing that Capitol window, allegedly had plans to kill Vice President Mike Pence and House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. He's now in custody, along with Tim Giannett, a far-right media personality of Texas who calls himself Baked Alaska, allegedly spotted on video inside the Capitol chanting, "Patriots are in control." There are at least 300 open investigations, the faces of suspected rioters plastered around D.C., with the FBI asking the public to come forward with any tips that could lead to more arrests. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
A local church asks residents to drive by and pop open the trunk to get some free groceries. The First Hispanic Rockford Church of God served dozens of families this afternoon. They gave away milk, meat, veggies, bread, and more. Members of the church say everybody is welcome when they have these events.
We know that at times that we live in right now, there's a lot of needs around our country. Okay, so our church, we are so blessed, to share food, free food for the people around us.
The church says they will keep us posted when they have another food drive. Illinois' health officials say the state has received more doses of the COVID vaccine. Next, we'll break down the numbers of shots administered and those delivered today.
Not a lot of movement in our temperatures this afternoon, starting off in the 30s and only making it into the low 30s for us today. But we've got a chance to see more sunshine in the next couple of days. We might even get a little more snow, too. I've got it all lined up for you coming up in your most trusted forecast a little later.
You're watching Eyewitness News, your home team, with Alexis Carpello, David Greenberg, and Chief Meteorologist Candice King.
Illinois health officials confirmed more than 4,000 COVID cases today, including 29 more people dying from the virus. Over 3,000 people are in the hospital fighting the disease. The weekly statewide test positivity rate sits at 7.1%. Last night, Illinois received more than 781,000 doses of the COVID vaccine, bringing the total Illinois doses to well over 1 million. Almost 490,000 vaccines have been administered statewide. Now, taking a look, Region 1 sees another drop in the positivity rate, now sitting at 7.1%. Lee County is the lowest with 1.6%. Almost all counties besides Joe Davies, DeKalb, and Stevenson have lowered their rates. Joe Davies and Stevenson slightly went up since yesterday. DeKalb stayed the same. Boone County is down to 12.2%, and Winnebago down to slightly above 8%.
Now, your first warned weather forecast with Chief Meteorologist Candice King.
Well, while we haven't had a lot of snow come down over the weekend, it's been more nuisance snow that has been with us, both for yesterday morning and then again this morning and throughout this afternoon. We've got a few light snow flurries coming down this evening. A live look with our Merced SkyTrack camera out of the Poplar Grove Airport. Still dealing with the cloud cover, though, and we've been able to manage a little bit of sunshine here and there as we've gone through much of this afternoon, but we are going to continue to see those clouds clouds as those stick with us here as we go through the rest of this evening, and even a couple of snow flurries that'll last here over the next couple of hours. A little break in some of that activity across the Rockford area, but you've got a few flurries flying in just here west of Freeport down towards Pearl City, and then once you get a little bit further up to the north. We had about an inch of snow come down here in Rockford, some higher amounts between 1 to 2 inches a little bit further to the south. No additional accumulations are expected with any of the snow flurries that we will see going through the rest of this evening, but all of this tied into an area of low pressure down to our southeast. So as that continues to pull further away, we'll take away that moisture and we'll get rid of some of those snow flurries. But we look a little bit further upstream. We've got another area of low pressure moving out of eastern Montana. This will bypass us mostly to our south and west during the day tomorrow, but that'll help feed in a little more cloud cover through the afternoon and not going to completely rule out a flurry, especially south of Rockford during the afternoon and early evening. So here we go with Futurecast. Notice we hang on to a couple of those flurries here as we go through the rest of this evening. And again, we will see some breaks in the cloud cover, but tomorrow, generally speaking, a mostly cloudy day, even though we might see some of the clouds thin out from time to time. Futurecast keeps us relatively dry, but again, still hanging on to just a flurry or two, especially to the south through the afternoon and evening. Now, Monday night into Tuesday, though, we should begin to clear out those skies kind of as this rush of colder air comes in. So what that's going to do for us Tuesday morning is allow that temperature to fall into the teens. So it's going to feel a lot colder Tuesday morning. We've got another quick moving clipper system that'll come in for the afternoon. So while we might start off with some sunshine, we'll see some of that cloud cover build in as that area of low pressure passes over Iowa and then into central Illinois. This could bring us a quick inch of snow during the late afternoon and evening time on Tuesday. So it might be some impact to that afternoon and evening commute. But after that, we get a stretch of some dry weather and even allowing those temperatures to climb back up. 30 is where we sit right now in Rockford, 27 in Belvedere and Dixon, 28 in Freeport, and 29 right now in Rochelle. Haven't had too much of a breeze, so that wind chill factor, not much of an issue here as we go through the rest of this evening. But I'll tell you, it's been one cloudy January day. Today, no exception. 14 days where we've had either mostly cloudy to cloudy skies. Only one day where we were able to see full sunshine, and 2 where that sky was partly cloudy. Now, if you're wanting that sun, we've got it this upcoming week because we'll see a little bit more here later in the week where we'll get rid of some of that cloud cover heading into the weekend. Temperatures, our hometown numbers here as we go through this evening. Those numbers will drop down into the low 20s. So starting off tomorrow morning in Freeport, right around 20 degrees in Byron, Ashton, down in Creston, 19 in Dixon, if we can see some pockets of clearing take place. Tomorrow will be a little cooler than where we were today. That temperature on either side of that 30-degree mark for the afternoon, and then we'll see the numbers drop just a bit with that rush of colder air on Tuesday. All of us will stay in the mid-20s. So 21 degrees here in Rockford tonight. Temperature tomorrow up near 30. Partly sunny skies, couple of flurries, especially to our south with that westerly wind at about 5 to 15 miles per hour. Down to 25 degrees on Tuesday. Notice that low down to 12. So a colder night Tuesday night. Get a little bump in the numbers Wednesday, Thursday, but we'll drop down into the 20s, Alexis, by the end of the week.
Now the Napleton Sports Desk with David Greenberg.
The Packers are moving on to the NFC Championship game after yesterday's 32-18 win over the Rams. Aaron Rodgers has been to 4 championship games in his career, make that 5 on Sunday, but this will be the first hosted at Lambeau Field. Down the stretch of the regular season, Rodgers talked about how meaningful it would be to be able to play on his home turf if they made it. Now, he'll have that opportunity.
It's hard to really put into words how special that feeling is. But you can feel it. It's so palpable. You can feel the energy of the stadium, and it's just different. It's different playing in front of a crowd. It really is. It's just a little more special and obviously more sweet.
Roughly 8,500 fans at yesterday's game. The Packers have the same plan for next week as well, to have limited attendance. Just about every Packer that spoke yesterday mentioned the advantage those fans gave them.
It definitely felt more like, I don't want to say a real game, but just the amount of fans in the stands definitely added a whole new level of energy out there.
Being able to play back in front of them, we missed them here in Lambeau. It was loud, it was rocking, and just getting back to it, the NFC Championship, like you said, left the ugly taste in our mouth, and right back where we want to be, and now it's time to correct it.
In a battle between Packers wideout Devontae Adams and Rams cornerback Jalen Ramsey, I think it's safe to say Adams took the dub. He had 9 catches for 66 yards and a touchdown in yesterday's game. Afterwards, the media asked him just who can stop this offense.
Nobody. We stop ourselves. I think that's been proven at this point. They got a lot of guys who do things at a high level, and some of the best at their position, but the way we come together is just different than anybody else.
There's more football today. The first game just wrapped up minutes ago with the Chiefs beating the Browns 22-17. They'll host the championship game next week. This one had a wild finish. Make sure to join me again tonight for all those highlights. And the final game of the divisional round comes from New Orleans between Tom Brady and Drew Brees, and possibly their last matchup ever. You can catch that action tonight on our sister station, Fox 39. Kickoff set in a few minutes for 5:40. Winner moves on to play the Packers next Sunday. We could be looking at a possible Rodgers versus Brady or Brees versus Rodgers battle for a spot in the Super Bowl. The Bulls were in Dallas this afternoon trying to bounce back after an ugly loss to the Thunder last time out. Zach LaVine was very upset afterwards, so how would they respond? Good start here in the first. Markkanen finds Garrett Temple with a nice finish on the drive. For the second, LaVine bringing it up, backing down, making a move, and finishes nicely, a reverse off the glass. Not his best night scoring, but he had 10 assists, one of them coming here in the fourth. To the team's high scorer tonight, Lauri Markkanen, who slams this one home. Bulls had another big halftime lead, and this time are able to close it out on the road with the 117-101 victory.
Our first Warn Interactive Radar brought to us by Rockford Auto Glass and More. We'll still continue to see a couple of flurries here as we go through this evening, but anything accumulating is going to be done for the overnight tonight. Temperatures will stay in the low 20s. Tomorrow, highs back up near 30 underneath a partly sunny sky. Could see a couple of flurries, some light snow then on Tuesday, a little more sunshine by the end of the week, cool down by Thursday and Friday.
Thanks for making us your home team tonight. We'll see you at 10.